Okay, so good afternoon, colleagues and students. Welcome to today's workshop. So we will start right now. So actually, Marine have already posted information required. Notion on the web. You can use the Notion on Windows or on your desktop. You can also install a software. You can also install on your mobile. And we have all the Notion guide prepared last year. So feel free to go for that. Today we will also go through some case as well as some demo at the end. Okay. So the presentation files require. Okay, so we will go through the presentation files later on. We will have the recordings, you can feel free to watch it and also share to your colleagues later. Okay. So we will go for we will talk about Notion today. So which is the Notion toolkit. We have discussed about Camtasia and Camtasia for video production, and then Canva for uh, infographic design, and also some other short video design. And you also go for Miro for digital collaborations. So this is the last tool, the last tool that we want to demonstrate at the end of this year. So the Notion. So we will have myself, Marie, and Nicholas to talk about shared experience. So again, some of you may not know me. I'm e-learning technologist in Hong Kong U, and also being a active member in IEEE educational activities. And also Marie is a colleague in Tele, hello Nicholas in CAES. So we work together on providing trainings on digital literacy training. So let's talk about several things. So I will spend around 15 minutes to talk about the Notion part, why we need to use this sort of tools, what's the purpose, and then maybe we'll talk about some basic functions. Once talking about some basic foundations, we will show you 2 or 3 cases, depends on the time, and we will have some time at the end for the Q&A. So let's talk about Notion. So right now is we all notice that it's a digital explosion area. So if you notice last 2 weeks ago, we start to have the GDP chat. So ChatGPT and many things happening, and then AI informations and lots of things are happening. So when we talk about ChatGPT, we think about whether people will use ChatGPT for patriotism, etc. So we already find cases in US already. Or teachers already find cases in US already using ChatGPT for patriotism, etc. So things are keep changing, and it's quite dynamic. And of course, for us, we study and work in a very dynamic way. So many things happening at the same time. So that's why, and we are working on a mixed mode. So face-to-face, online, and home office at the same time, and with different people working together. And there are so many tools introduced. If you are in Hong Kong U, these 2 years, sometimes we go for the ERT, and there are so many tools. So besides and beyond Zoom, we have so many tools. Some of them will be about creating media. Some of them will be for peer evaluation. Some of them will be making videos, etc. Some of them is for polling. There are so many tools. And sometimes we have created different kinds of artifacts in different tools, but we don't have a way to try to integrate them together. There are so many information created and collected, and we don't know where are they. So we have so many message, emails, files, sometimes in our personal Google Drive, sometimes it's in the university Google Drive, etc. So many things are not related, are not connected to each other. And we need a community, in particular for right now, online era. So we need to have collaborations virtually. So there are so many things happening at the same time. We don't have a central tool to integrating things together. So that's why we want to have a Notion, a central workspace for all of us. and then it's a kind of database. So of course if you heard about databases, you do really need to learn about SQL or something like SQL, etc. to manage our records, etc. The nice thing of Notion is we don't need any code, so everything is shown visually. So you just need to create a database without typing lots of commands. So it's a low code development. So no code, my interpretation is NO or LOW. So both are okay. So once we have the no code development, for all of us, we can use database and then to keep the records within a portal. Of course, Notion is a very flexible environment. You can customize the database, and we will talk about several examples today. So some of the examples using database for cost management, some of them will be used for mentor-mentee management. So we are talking about supporting students and class. So we will show you some examples. It's a multi-platform. So of course you can install the software on your computer, which will be providing more powerful functions, etc. But it's also okay. It's also comfortable to use it online. So just use the Chrome browser or the internet browser. And then the second nice thing is if you want to share some of the content to some other non-Hong Kong U, also to some other people. For example, if you use it for mentor-mentee management, and the mentors are actually people beyond Hong Kong U, so you can share to them quite easily using the share options. And again, Marine will also talk a little bit about this. So it's a good tools for all of us. So for collaborations and within Hong Kong U and beyond Hong Kong U. And it's active. So interactive, so you can change all the settings. So some of them will be kept within yourself, your class, and also beyond Hong Kong U. For example, some of the patients, some of the collaborators, etc. And then it's a workplace for one place for every team. Why we need Ocean? First of all, it's a document for everyone. I'm sorry. So I forgot to. Okay, so there are also some other tools. So beyond Notion, so there are Coda, some other tools, etc. They actually provide similar functions, but with some special features. I don't go with them one by one. Yeah, so there are some of you, if you are tech savvy, so you should know some of them already. And of course, here shows a comparison table. So showing between the functions between different tools. So with different editing functions, some of them have more flexibility. Some of them are easy to use. Some of them with better visualization. So that's and also some of them most of them have some API. So connecting to other servers, but I don't go in depth today. And this is the free version. And for Notion, the nice thing is if you have the educational email, that means your Hong Kong U account, you should be able to use the educational license. That means with more surveys. Of course, you can also subscribe for some subscribe surveys. You can use the subscribe survey, in which will provide even more functions and functionalities. And of course, beyond those tools, dedicated tools, there are also some other generic functions. For example, using Evernote, using OneNote and Notion. So Notion, you can use your educational license. For OneNote, you can use your Hong Kong U license. And Evernote, mostly you have to pay for a better service. So we also have a comparison between these three tools. So you can go for this link and check for more information. And another point that I want to raise is all-in-one database. So for Notion, it's easy to start with some functions that which will be illustrated later on. And of course, there are some other alternatives, but they also have some limitations. So in my opinion, if you are the first time to try this kind of database idea, you should use Notion or OneNote because it's actually subscribed by Hong Kong already. So if you are more tech savvy, so you can go for these other dedicated tools. So that's my opinion. So again, for us, although we discuss about Notion today, but it's not about the tools itself. It's about a mindset or a workplace for you. You can use some other tools, for example, OneDrive or OneNote, etc. It's also can serve the purpose already. But I wish and we wish that you understand what's the mindset behind, and then to organize everything and then try to extract them if possible. So when you need. So that's my our interpretation of Notion for database management or no coding database management. So the rest I will pass the mic to Marie to talk about functions in basic functions in Notion to how to create a page, etc. And then also provide several more examples. And then next will be the last one. Also share the case from CES. So let me pass the mic. To Marie. And again, today's workshop or webinar will be record. Feel free to share the recordings to colleagues. So let me pass the mic to Marie.
So hello everyone, welcome to our Notion workshop today. So today I'm going to show you the basic editing function of the Notion and also sharing one case about my Notion database. So for now, let's start. So to start with the Notion, you can see this is the Notion official website, and I already sent the links in the chat box. So Notion is support for not only the website, but also for your multiple platform like iPad or phones. Yeah, so you can download them, or they also have the online app, but I think the website is more convenient. And you see, this is the Notion website, and if you don't have a account, you can try to log in with your Gmail. And here I will choose my account to log in. So currently, HKU don't have the SSO account for the Notion, but I think the Notion, one of the advantage of Notion that Leon just mentioned before is the price. The free version of the Notion has already can fulfill most of the thing you need. And here I will continue as Marie. So here we can see this is the Notion page. This is the menu bar, and here is a new page I create. Oh, sorry, this is a previous database I create. So you can see this is a very large database, but one of the good things that is, if you can use the Notion to create a large database, everything you need to start with a new page. And the new page to create in Notion is very quickly. So let's start from here. This is the new page. We click this one. And you can see this is the new page in Notion. And here you can see you can write it down. And there are three parts. The first part is the title and the cover. And the second part is that press enter to continue with the empty page or pick a template. And here you can see the database here. So let's start step by step. The first one is if you want to edit in the full page, you can click here. And you see now this is a blank new page in Notion. And here we can give the title for it. Let's say Kelly. And here you can add icon or cover or add any comments. And here you can just click here to start your typing. So now you can start to edit. And there are lots of commands in Notion you can choose. If you want to start the command, just type this one for commands. And you can see you can keep text or keep writing on this blank page, or you can also create a new page. And here you can create a to-do list. Like click this one, or you can use the headings like here, or also you can make heading 2 or heading 3. So, and also you can make a very small tables here. And it's a little bit like Excel, but it's only the form you can create. And here you can also create a bullet list, or a number list, toggles, or codes or dividers. Or you can also link to another page and make a call out. The call out is if you share with someone else, or you just want to call the attentions, you can type here like, yeah. So here is the call out box. And here in the command, here are 4 parts I wanted to introduce as a basic function. The first one is the basic blocks, and we already introduced that. And the second one is the database, we will introduce later. And the third one is media. Here you can see you can insert a image or a video or audio, or you can even code or upload a file. And the fourth part is embeds. You can embed a PDF, your Google Maps, and from your Google Drive, and also embed a lot of things, and even Miro. So I'm sure some of you may use the Miro to create the templates, and you can also embed to here. So when you type down something, the second one I wanted to introduce is the writing function. For example, let's say, when you type down, when we type write and lots of things, sometimes we will think there's too many words here. And here you may try to make it in like change the color or make it to call out. And here, when you choose the one you text, here you can turn into the text and make them into the heading. In here, heading 2 or heading 3. And also, you can make a links to here. You can type down the links here, or just link to another page in the Notion. And also you can add a comment here. Or in this comment, you can attach a file or mention someone to pay attention to this one. And I can discuss, and yeah. And also I can like load or change the type of these words. And also you can mention someone. And here, I can also change the color of the words. For example, I can click the dot here. Oh, yeah. And then here I can change the color. So for the color, they have 2 parts. This color is change the word's color, and this one is for the background of this word. For example, I choose yellow, so these words will become yellow. But if I want to change the background, here you can see I make this one as a yellow one, and I can also change to different color. So you'll see, even I already make the heading for each of these words, I can also make them like more heading like that. So when I trying to type down something else, they will more easy to recognize the words you want to type down. So here, there are lots of like editing function in this page. So when you already have one page, or you already write down something, now we can create a database. So some of you may think, well, database, I may need to like a lot of data to create, but actually in Notion, you don't have to. In the Notion database, the only thing you need to do is type this one and then choose a database you want. For example, let's try the table view. When we're trying to create a database, Here, the Notion will give you some option here. If you already have another page or another database, the Notion will ask you if you want to link. But if you don't, you just want to create a new database, you click here. So here you can see we just create a blank new database. Here we can see there are titles, there are properties, and these are the blank page. In this block, you can see there is this open in the side pick. Each one of these blocks are a new page. For example, I click open here, you create a new page. And just like the page I created before, actually it just create a new page. And now you can type down like the name and write down something else. And the second thing I wanted to introduce in the database is the properties. So you see this is a form, and sometimes you may have a lot of information or lots of things about your profile or your data. And here you can create the properties. In here, we can see this one is the property that Notion already created for you. When you click here, you can see there are multiple types of the property you can choose. You can choose number or select or multiple select, status, date, personal, and a lot of things you can choose here. So for example, we said Amy is a 12-year-old girl, and we want to record the age of Amy. So we choose number here. So when we choose number, you can see the type become number. And here we can edit the property's name. Like I said, it's about the age. So I can write down the age here. So in here, we can just type down the number. And if I want to add more properties, I wanted to say Amy is a 12 years old girl, and I want to choose the select. And here I want to make male and female. So here you can see there are some options. I can add an option here, female, and also male. And you can see each properties here, they have colors here. And this color you can change. You can change to different colors here, or you can delete it. So we choose female for Amy. This is the gender. Now we enter to this page again. And you see, when you edit outside, the Notion will help you to integrate the information you just put in inside. Here you can see 12 years old female girl. The name is Amy. So when you create this page, you can create new page here and add new page here, more and more here. So you can also give a title for your database, like the school. And this is the table view of Notion. So one of the good things for Notion is they have different data visualizations. So you can not only view in the table format, but you can also view in board or timeline or calendar, list or gallery. So for example, I click board here, it will become like this one. And if I will put some schedule for Amy, like when she will go to the school, when she will have her daily life, I will put the timeline or calendar or to-do list, or even the gallery. So you can see here, we can have different view of our data. So this is a very simple database that Notion can create. You don't have to coding or something else. The only thing you need to do is just choose the database and then create a page for it and just input all your data you have. And here, change them into different view. So here, this is so basically the relationship between a new page and a database is the database in Notion is combined by a lot of new page. So even a new database is come from a new page. So once we know the concept behind the notions, now we can see what if you already create a new whole new database, what it will look like. Here I will share my case. I did it for GHAD 6040, and thanks for the support of the Medicine School of Public Health. And here, this is a case for outreach journey in the next semester. So the teacher want to build up a database like all students can view this page, but in this page, the student cannot make edit. They can just view it, but in each student, their individual page, student can edit. And the second thing, the student want to upload every information here, because when these students go to the outreach journey in the next semester, they may need a lot of platform, like they will have to submit the assignment on Moodles, they have to communicate on Telegram, and they need to have group assignments with their drive, with their Gmail drive. And yeah, you can see the information are separate on different platforms. And this for the student, and even for the teacher, it may very confused to or frustrate to manage so many information in different platforms. So Notion can help them to integrate all information or all mission they need to do in one page. So here, let's go through this database I created for them. So the first one is the title. So this one is the title. And this is the announcement board. So I use the colors and here to type down here. And then this is the call out box I just introduced to you. And here in the call out box, you can not only change the color of the words, but you can also upload the files. And here the student can see what kind of announcement the teacher just uploaded. They can read this page and see what they need to do in this outreach. And here, the teacher requires two pages, the submission page and the student page. So in the student page, these students, each of them are their student IDs, titles, student name, nickname, Chinese name, email, and phone. These are the properties that you can create. And you just need to like type down all this information. And here you can see the open. When I click this one, you can see this is the student for O. And you can see the property here, it will line down to here. The student can view it quickly. And here is the assignment checklist I create for the student. So all the student need to do is just upload to it. And in this page, the student can edit, can view, they can hold access to this page. But in this page, they can only just command or view. And same as this page, and you can choose to gather view here, or I can choose a different view. Yeah, you can see, you can choose different database view, and you will choose the one you prefer. I think the table view is more suitable for here, so I choose this one. And because you see there are some submission dates here, so I create the timeline view for this database. So in the calendar, you can see, sorry. In the calendar view, you can see these are the dates that what students need to do here. Like, for example, in the October here, they have to upload their CV and cover letter. And here in the 10th, they have to attend the individual mentoring and the first matching period. And in the gallery view, If the student want to view it more directly, they can choose the gallery view here. So then so the student can see, oh, what kind of thing I need to do here. And also the table view or timeline view. And the third part is because the teacher want the student to create a outreach journey for each one, and they want the student to vote for each other. And they also want the student to see the vote directly. So here I choose to embed the Mentimeter and the quality here. So if the student need to voting, they don't have to go to the Mentimeter. They can just click here and choose the one they want to vote. And then I skip the question. And I think, yeah, they can see the voting right here, the voting outcomes here. And this one is Qualtrics. You can also embed here. And you can see there are lots of things you can embed. You can embed a PDF or a website here. So there's one thing I mentioned before is about the sharing, because the teacher wants the student can only view this page, but they can edit it in here. So now is the last part I wanted to introduce for you is the sharing. So here, go to the top right corner. You can see, you can share with someone. In the Notion, there are 3 sharing. You can share with your friends, or you can invite them, or you can share to web. So if I choose someone to share, here you can see there are 4 options here. Full access, can edit, comment, and can view. So in this page, if you want the student can only view this one, you go to here, invite someone, and choose can view, so that they can only just view this page and cannot make any edit. But if you want a student can edit their page, you go to here and click share again, invite the student, and choose the can edit. And then the student can edit. But the difference between full access and can edit is if you allow the student can full access, they can not just edit, but also share with others. So you may not want the student to share this page with other students or other people that not HKU student. So just give them the can edit. So here is another right. It's about share to website. If you want to create a public website, like a database about the animals or the plants in the HKU, you want everyone to see it, you can go to share to web. So once you click here, the Notion here will remind you if you want to allow everyone can edit or comment or just duplicate as a template. Or you can allow the people to searching in the engine index. So it's up to you. So for this case, I wanted to introduce is about Notion. You can use Notion to create a beautiful database here, and you can choose them to make different database view here. And also the share rights, you can choose different type. You don't have to worry about if the student to view the thing you don't want them to see. And also you can integrate a lot of other platform to one database here. Yeah, so that's one I wanted to introduce to my case. So now I will pass my mic to Nicholas to introduce more case about Notion database. Thank you.
Maybe I can chip in a little bit first. So for Marine, as I was sharing the case with School of Public Health, so we also implement similar cases in for speech and hearing. So they use it for they use for mentor-mentee management. So we can observe that actually this kind of tools may not be totally related to TNL purpose, but is also a good tools, easy to use tools for educational management. So manage the mentor-mentee patients, try to manage the outreach, try to manage the enrichment year arrangement, etc. So that's the things or things that we did we experiment in the previous academic year. And then Nicholas may work on something else using Notion. So maybe let me pass the mic to you.
Thanks, Leon. Thanks, Marie. Let me share my screen first.
Let me maybe add you as a co-host first. Oh yeah,
I think I'm already
you should be able.
Yeah. All right. Can all of you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Nicholas, and I'm currently a research assistant at CAES. I'm here to share with all of you how Notion was used as a learning management system for the course CAES 2002. And then if time allows, I can also share a little bit about another undergraduate course that I was involved in. That's CCST 9079. But for the time being, I'll just focus on CAES 2002. Let me just give you a background of CAES 2002. So CAES 2002 is a very small undergraduate elective with a class size of about 20 students, taught by my former supervisor, Patrick, who was a senior lecturer at CAES. The course definitely emerged from the ashes of COVID because before COVID, CAES actually had partnership with some NGOs in Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, and India. And so every year, CAES would send undergraduate students who enrolled in the experiential learning course to these countries. And then these students, they would spend 8 weeks in their summer holiday teaching English to primary and secondary school students there. But of course, after COVID, CAES could no longer send any students aboard. So they are changing the face-to-face experience to online. And so the model that we've come up for the course is that in the first 6 weeks, CAES, we would teach students how to create a digital story in the form of a video. And so students would work individually in Notion, maybe to write scripts, upload pictures or soundtracks, etc. And they will also collaborate with one another on Notion by giving peer feedback and also commenting on one another's scripts and pictures. Once students finish the 6 weeks, they would spend the remaining 6 weeks facilitating digital storytelling workshops for participants from Myanmar and India. And so students, they will need to create their own dashboards on Notion, the HKU students, to create their own dashboards on Notion for the incoming participants, to guide them through the digital storytelling process. And then eventually each incoming participant would be facilitated by Hong Kong U students to create their own digital story. So the toolbox of 6 weeks are more like mirroring each other. So let's take a look at the course Notion site here. This is the landing page of CAES 2002. And you can see we've got different kinds of documents here, some assessment documents, weekly pages, and also some announcements here. So if I go into week 6, for example, this is one of the weekly pages. You can see I've got some colorful text here. This is actually one of the properties of Notion's database. But the most useful function of Notion is not really any individual entries or pages, but the database function. So the database function helps manages information in an organized manner. And similar to the concept of database in all of your minds, well, each database contains a lot of properties. We can use these different properties to perform different functions. As you can see, these are the properties here. For CAES 2002, for example, we will use the database property to help students keep track of their own work. So whether they've created a video editing account, whether they've written their script, record their voiceover, etc., etc. All right. What makes Notion truly stand out is that its concept that each database entry is also a single page. So for example, there is an open button here. If I click it, then you can open it as a page. And also just this morning, Notion actually released an update version. So now we can even have sub-pages for each database entry. So you can imagine that Notion's database is not like any ordinary databases, but also it's not like the Finder or the File Explorer on any computers. As long as students can figure out how Notion actually works, the flexibility in Notion will actually allow students to view different learning resources as a coherent whole and also to access them easily. So for each pages and databases in Notion, they are stored in their mother pages and in their mother databases. So for example, we can see I've got week 6 here as a database entry. It is stored as one of the entries under the database CES 2002 session notes. And for this particular database CES 2002 session notes, this is stored inside a page called CES 2002 course materials. So the pages and the databases, regardless of how irrelevant they might be, can be interconnected together on Notion. So for example, if I go into week 6 and I see, oh, maybe this is everything that I have to work on for week 6, I can see, oh, week 6 is connected to assessment 2, learning objects. And so then I can click in assessment object. Now I'm navigated to another page called, another database entry called assessment object. And so when students scroll down, you can see, wow, okay, so this particular assessment is actually related to the CES 2002 assessment rubrics database, which is embedded here. So this is the interconnectivity of Notion, and it's very handy when it comes to teaching a course. Another handy feature is the wide range of file that Notion supports. So for example, let me show you this learning object database. Okay, so, all right. So this is the database containing all students' learning objects. This is actually the assessment that we just looked at. So in CES 2002, a learning object is a piece of digital artifact that students create, well, of course, for satisfying the course requirement, but it is also used to support the participants from Myanmar and India to create their own digital stories so that they are like teaching the participants about different components of the digital story. So that's what we define learning object in CES 2002. So if I click into this particular student, for example, if I click into Lokchi, you can see she used a wide range of files to produce her digital artifact, including a call out here, different kinds of headings. This is a 2-column layout, and then we can see some bullet points here, images and captions, a video here, and then PDF here. And then I think we also have something like, yeah, so like a hyperlink here, and even Google Form, which is unfortunately closed right now. So a lot of multimedia elements were incorporated into Lokchi's learning objects. Imagine if we were to do this on Moodle. Would it be possible for students to incorporate so many elements into the Moodle wiki or a forum blog post? Well, that would be very difficult, right? In fact, even working on the layout, you can see we have a very clear 2-column layout here, and we have headings here, right? So even working on the layout on Moodle would be so difficult that no one would actually want to do it. So to illustrate what I'm talking about, let me share with all of you what I did when I was a student, just a year ago, actually. So this is a Moodle wiki that I created with my classmates for a course in education. You can see we have headings, and then we have divider, we have hyperlinks, pictures, text, bullet points, and of course, a lot of tables that are neatly organized. Right? Well, I'm sure all of you would agree that the layout of this wiki page looks pretty neat, but I think you don't want to look at the code here that I actually did. Yeah, especially if some of you have no background knowledge in coding. These are the codes that I actually wrote to organize the layout for the Moodle wiki. And you can see it's really time consuming and also not easy for beginners to do. Going back to Notion, you can see that any ordinary students can work this out both effectively and also efficiently. So this will lead me to talk about the dashboard that students created for their own subgroup for incoming participants from Myanmar and India. So let's check out maybe C1, okay, and let's look at the students dashboard, okay. So this is the dashboard created by Erica and Ricky. They are both Hong Kong U students. This dashboard is created for the students in Myanmar and India. And as you can see, they've added quite a lot of elements into the dashboard, including a dashboard, including a database, having their faces there, the Zoom details, the Zoom recordings. They even made a video teaching the incoming participants how to use Notion. And then they upload lesson materials, PowerPoints, and even a piece of reading for the incoming participants. This local environment, you can see it is really for anyone, even those without any background in technology, to create any pages for any purposes, anytime. Lastly, I would like to mention a little bit about some of the a very advanced function in Notion. That is its integration. So if some of you are familiar with app development, we have something called the API. So Notion actually would release its API so that it can interact with other platforms. So in the case of CES 2002, we actually, you can see we have announcements here. So each of these single announcements, they are coming from a single announcements database, as you can see here. So each of these announcements are actually linked through Notion's API to Discord, so that whenever we make any announcements, we can just type the message in Notion, and then with a third-party service called automation service called Integromat, we managed to pass along our announcements from Notion all the way to students' Discord, so that they can receive messages instantly on their mobile phone. Similarly, these messages can also be passed to other applications. So, for example, Google Doc or Gmail. So it is very handy if you have some a little bit of background knowledge in app development, then you can use this local function to pass along the messages. Otherwise, I think just the local function of Notion would be sufficient for teachers and students to use. After using Notion for CES 2002, what we learned is that Notion is a very good platform for students to collaborate and to do things that they wouldn't be possible in Moodle. So for example, if let's say if I go back to my personal story, because I was also one of the students from the class back then, you can see Notion will actually allow students to comment on one another's notes, yeah, like that. Okay, so and also students can collaborate by making the dashboards together. That's what I just shown as well. The learning object and the dashboard that students created, they are of course counted towards the course grade, but also they are useful for the students, incoming participants from Myanmar and India. This is exactly authentic assessment that we're talking about. But also what we learned from the course, what we learned from using Notion in CES 2002 is that because the structure of Notion is a little bit different, it's like a web of pages and databases. Students will need some time at the beginning to familiarize themselves with the platform. But the problem usually disappears after a few weeks into class or after a quick demo to students, which was the case in this course. All in all, I think Notion is highly customizable to both students and teachers. Today, I've shared some ways of using Notion, but of course, the ways of using Notion are not limited to these only. So I would like to encourage all of you to be, especially teachers, to be bold and to try Notion with your course. I guess the main message to take away here is that with Notion, the platform actually are a lot more different designs of assessment that teachers you have to change your mindset to think about as well. So things that we couldn't do with Moodle, now we can do it with Notion. So it gives us more flexibility in terms of designing how the course, in terms of designing the course materials and also the course assessments. Lastly, I would like to thank Leon and also Marie for inviting me. And I must thank Patrick, my former supervisor, for inspiring me for all the content that I've just covered and beyond. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thanks, Nicholas, for the sharing. So see if colleagues have or students have any questions for three of us on using Notions for all kinds of purpose or things about Notions, e-learning or anything else. So you can type, you can just voice out. So maybe when we wait, maybe Nicholas, you can still have a short yes. So we have a example. Okay. So see if you while still participants are typing or thinking about questions, can you share also briefly about the common core cases?
Yeah, sure. Let me share
Yes.
my screen again.
So for participants, so feel free to type in the chat room for raising any questions.
Okay. Right, all of you can see my screen, right? Okay. So this is actually another learning management system that I've designed for the course CCST 9079. Run from semester 2 last academic year. This course is a little bit bigger than CAS 2002. There are roughly 60 students in this course, and as you can see, I've created this landing page for them and also all the associating pages here. I've got the announcement database. Similar to CAS 2002, we are also passing along the messages into Discord so that students can receive instant messages regarding course announcements. We also have another database covering the tutorial schedule here. I think I would like to show all of you something that I didn't do for the CAS 2002, which is the calculation of scores for students. So this is actually so this is actually the back end pages that the lecturer and course TA we're looking at, and they've got a grade book in terms of for example, their participation or their journal articles here. So because one of the properties of the database in Notion is that users can key in custom functions so that we can calculate their scores. And as you can see here, we have the custom functions for them, and they can use it to calculate students' scores based on how students respond to each lecture's course materials or the in-class learning activities, etc. So this function is quite unique to this course that I think a lot of teachers can take reference to as well. Another really good assessment idea that I would like to share from the course is how students can use Notion to capture their daily life, because one of the assessments from this course is actually the course journal. So students, they need to journal themselves every week, how they biohack themselves. So because Notion has the computer version and also many applications on the App Store and also on Google Drive, so we can actually allow students to capture these weekly moments easily whenever wherever they go or whatever they do. So for example, if I go into this student called Abby Ma, we can see this student is capturing the products that she was using to care her for skin caring and hair caring, right? And this is a very interesting example as well, because think about Moodle. It's very difficult for us to work this out on Moodle. Students cannot customize the pages they see, and also it's very difficult for them to access Moodle on their mobile phone. It's very difficult for them to do this on the go. But with Notion, you can see that we allow students to upload different elements, pictures, videos, text, and so it is a very good medium, a very good platform for students to record their daily life. This is something that teachers and lecturers can think more about as you design your assessments or in-class learning activities. So this student basically captured everything she did across 2 months. So so these are the things that teachers can think more about.
Yes, thanks for sharing the second case. I think we still have around or 3 minutes, see if colleagues and students have any questions, ideas, or anything you want to share. Is there a deadline for switching from Moodle to Notion? This is Moodle is actually a centralized service. At least in the near future, as far as I know, so there will be no switching to other LMS. So Moodle is a centralized service supported by ITS. So that one, the nice thing is it has a lot of well connected to different ITS systems. So for most of the purpose, actually using Moodle is the best option. But of course, some teachers may think of some alternatives, using it for some other purpose or with more functions connecting to API, LTI, etc. Want to create database. So that's for that purpose. Notion can be an option. Of course, ITS also have a subscribe on OneNote, so Microsoft products. So you can use either OneNote or Notion for T&L purpose. So so it's not talking about switching from one to another, providing a new surface or turn off the Moodle. It's not like that. So it's we just want to provide some alternatives for T&L purpose.
Yeah, I guess the key point here is to know about the limitations and also benefits of both Moodle and Notion. And then teachers can make a conscious choice. For example, when you want to design a particular kind of assessment that maybe Moodle or maybe Notion is more suitable, then at least you have a choice to pick between the two. And yeah.
Of course, if you don't have any idea what the tools or what kind of design, etc., so feel free to talk to me. Yeah. So just like the public school, the public health school or school of public health or the speech and hearing unit, so department stream, yes. So they also first approach me and then have some discussions and realize, using Notion is a good option. And then we test it. So if you have any ideas, don't know how to do, so feel free to reach to me first. Okay, so that's the 1:30. So is it possible to rename Notion website link? So any ideas?
Okay, so yes, actually, yeah. So basically, the Notion website link, because you have there is a particular section before the Notion link, you can modify that bit. Actually, let me share I think I should share my screen to talk about this.
Yeah, or you can use some other short URL surface for so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So actually, for each Notion, for each Notion link, let me just turn this on for now. You can see we have this HKU CSS Notion.site, and we have the bit at the end. So that's the page ID actually. We can change the HKU CSS, we can change this bit, but we cannot change the Notion.site. But of course, you're welcome to use any URL shortener to accomplish the action. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all. So again, thanks all for coming. So this is the end of the end of the whole e-learning tool series. So hopefully we'll run this at the end of the semester again. So yeah, so we'll run this again and then so just a rerun, maybe rerun or introducing some new tools. So maybe we will talk about AI drawings or AI ChatGPT later, maybe. Yeah, so later on. So let's keep in touch. So have a happy holiday and Merry Christmas for all of you and for students. So good luck for your examination.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Merry Christmas.
Thanks. Bye.